Hey,
Okay, sorry for the
recording in
late
progress.
start, but magandang araw sa inyo. And is this the first time we met sa taon na to? Second na, no? Okay, so happy Chinese New Year. New Year pa rin. Pasok, pasok pa rin. And of course, I'm joined by Yusek Felibay and Yusek Bernard Olalia. And back there is Yusek Nikki Tutay and Asek Jerome Alcantara, Asek Reggie Elias, and Asek Benny Legaspi. Jules Ambito. So, four assistant secretaries with us. Yep. Okay. So, sige. Let me start with we'll run down at least three matters. Um, and so I'll start with the Abu Dhabi dialogue. We attended on February 1st the Abu Dhabi dialogue, the eighth ministerial meeting of the Abu Dhabi dialogue. What is the Abu Dhabi dialogue? It's the Abu Dhabi dialogue is a 3 decades old consultative process, voluntary consultative process between Asian receiving and sending labor migrant worker countries. Okay. So, sa receiving side, the Gulf states are there, Saudi, UAE, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, uh, and a host of others on in the Asian side, nandiyan na Singapore and Malaysia. But also sa sending side, so nandiyan ng Philippines, nandiyan ng Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and a host of other countries. It's a 20-member state consultative process, voluntary, okay? Now, in the eighth ministerial meeting, there were 14 member states in attendance. And usually the term of the chair, a 3-year term of the chair ends for every ministerial meeting. The last chair was Oman. And so the Philippines was elected as the chair of the ninth ministerial meeting to be held in 2028. So we are now, the good news is we are now the current chair. We just assumed our role as the current chairmanship of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue, the ninth, toward the ninth ministerial meeting. Okay. Slated to be taken up in the 3 years of our chairmanship will be a host of what we call thematic areas. So welfare and protection, obviously, in the Philippine side will be on top of our agenda. And there are also a host of other issues like skills partnerships, bridging the gap between education and employment, making sure that our workers are equipped for the national and global labor markets, in which case we shall partner with host countries on the improvement of our skills, training and skills education in our country. And we shall partner. I'm due to meet with DG Kiko Benitez of TESDA. Again, once again, we have a partnership already. We have a standing memorandum of agreement with the TESDA. Another thematic area will be uh, the matter on some new uh, areas in the world of work, future of world of work, platform or gig work, uh, the matter on digitalization, safe and ethical recruitment, social protection, yeah, of migrant workers. So these are the thematic areas. In the course of the 3 years of our chairmanship, there will be some meetings on these thematic areas, culminating in the ninth ministerial meeting in 2028, the 2028. Uh, and we will host, the Philippines will host the ninth ministerial meeting where all these thematic areas will be discussed, taken up, and embodied in a declaration for the 9th ministerial meeting, which will set the tone for policies and programs and services uh, within the member states of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue. Okay, so that's the good news. I'll start it off there, and we look forward. The Philippines have a very strong and active chairmanship of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue. It's very important in this day and age. Multilateralism, especially in the field of labor migration, is very important. And for the Philippines, once again, the key here for the Philippines is upholding welfare and protection of OFWs, number one, and continually making ourselves known as foremost advocates and having a migration governance system on regular pathways to labor migration, safe and ethical, sustainable recruitment. Yeah. So we are not a country where irregular or illegal migration or labor migrants would come from, and we have very, very strong anti-illegal recruitment and anti-human trafficking policies. Again, we are on our 11th year as Tier 1 in the U.S. State Department Trafficking in Persons report. Okay, so kinikilala pa rin sa pamamagitan chairmanship natin na Abu Dhabi Dialogue, kinikilala pa rin ng Pilipinas bilang tanyag. Nagsimula ang migration governance system nung panahon ni Ferdinand Marcos Sr. at siya naman pinalakas at pinapagpatuloy ni Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Kaya't patuloy yung pagkilala sa atin bilang tanyag na migration governance system with with emphasis on safe, ethical, sustainable recruitment. Okay, so that's the first item. For the second item, we had a major illegal recruitment operation, and I will request our Undersecretary for Licensing and Adjudication, Yusek Bernard Olalia, to report on our illegal recruitment entrapment, anti-illegal recruitment entrapment operation in partnership with the National Bureau of Investigation.
Thank you, Sec. Good morning, everyone. Upon the instruction of no less than our Secretary and pursuant to the directive of the national leadership to our President, patuloy po na pinaigting ang programa ng DMW para laban sa illegal recruitment at trafficking in person. No? Kumakailan lamang po, meron kaming hinuli sa cooperation na rin ng NBI na isang nambibiktima ng tinatawag nating returning workers o yung balik manggagawa. Ang kanila pong modus operandi ay inaalam nila kung sino yung mga kababayan nating OFWs na nagtrabaho na sa abroad, na may hawak ng OEC, at hinihikayat po nila na pumunta sa kanilang kausap na employer sa abroad. Either ito ay blacklisted or hindi pinapayagan ng aming departamento na tumanggap ng OFW, at fine-fake po yung kanyang OEC, at pagdating po sa BI, siyempre ang Bureau of Immigration ay may matibay na ugnayan sa DMW, at pag nakita na fake yung kanyang OEC, offloaded ang ating OFW. No? Nagpunta po yung hindi bababa sa apat na nabiktima ng sindikato na ito, at dahil po tayo ay may ugnayan sa NBI, nakipag-organisa po tayo ng isang entrapment, nahuli po natin ito at kinasuhan po natin ng large-scale illegal recruitment. Ang ibig pong sabihin yan, no bail. No? Sa kasalukuyan, 4 po yung hinaharap na kaso ng ating nahuli, at dahil no bail po ito, sisiguraduhin po ng DMW na patuloy ang pagbibigay ng programa sa lahat ng nabiktima at kinasuhan, at sisiguraduhin natin na maipakulong natin itong nambiktima na ito. Muli, yung balik manggagawa modus operandi, panibagong modus ito na tinatarget yung ating mga kababayan na nagpunta na at may tangang OEC. No? Kaya amin pong binabalaan at nagbibigay po kami ng advisory sa ating mga domestic workers. Halimbawa, kasi yung 4 na biniktima ay mga domestic workers, so wag ho kayong papayag at tatanggap na dadalhin kayo o bibigyan kayo ng trabaho sa abroad na gagamitin yung dati ninyong OEC, at papayag na i-fake yung employer at destination country para lang makalabas kayo ng bansa. Dumaan po tayo sa proseso at tutulong po kami, hahanap po kami ng employer kung kayo man ay nahihirapang humanap po ng employer. Salamat po.
Anong pangalan? Pakibanggitan. Okay.
Yung pangalan po ng ating hinuli ay si Celos Vitorbo, no? Nakatira siya sa isang condominium sa Pasay City at may apat po tayong domestic worker na nanggaling sa Saudi Arabia na papunta sana ng Abu Dhabi, no? Yung isa at yung isa naman ay sa Lebanon para tumanggap ng $400 bawat buwan to $450 bawat buwan.
Let me just say na we also got information na itong nahuli na alias G Viterbo was also implicated in cases nung illegal deployment to Kurdistan. Alam ko to kasi POA administrator ako nung panahon na yon. At nangyari, pa-deport sana siya sa Pilipinas pero tumalon at some point in a connection flight. So, nakataka sa law enforcement. Pero nagbalik at ito na nga, nagsagawa ng pagkakaroon ng panibago na namang katiwalian. Kaya't hindi na ito makakawala sa law enforcement, sa batas. Merong pre-trial na isasagawa sa February 26 and we will make sure kundi man ako si Yusek Bernard will be there for the pre-trial. Kasi gusto talaga natin matuluyan ito dahil gumawa na to ng katiwalian nung nakaraan at seryoso tayo sa crackdown natin sa illegal recruitment kaya't sisiguraduhin natin na matutuluyan at makakamit ng mga biktima hustisya at ng bayan, ano, kasi kaso ito hinahanap natin people versus people of the Philippines versus Viterbo, kaya't gagawa natin ng lahat ng paraan na makakaya natin sa abot ng ating makakaya sang-ayon sa batas na magkaroon tayo ng hustisya dito sa katiwaliang naisagawa nitong salarin na ito. Okay? Okay na, Yusek? Okay. Is Yusek PYN on the line?
Ma'am, I think she's coming. Darating daw po, habol. Hahabol daw,
So
sir.
papasok siya after PTV. The third matter is on the so-called shadow fleet na nagkaroon ng press statement si Senator Erwin Tulfo patungkol dito. Tayo naman din ay nakapag-ugnayan na kay Senator mismo. At nagsasagawa tayo ng investigasyon sa so-called 24 ship captains na nasa shadow fleet. Hanggang doon na muna. Ang iniimbestigahan natin ngayon specifically is whether there are those licensed manning agencies who indeed are cohorts or responsible for this. So yun ang iniimbestigahan natin sa ngayon. At merong tayong lang hinihinging panahon na sagawa yung investigasyon. In the meantime, baka pwede nyo kaming tulungan nyo kami na ilabas ang babala sa ating mga seafarers. Please, wag po kayong papatol sa mga arrangement na hindi dumadaan sa DMW. Hindi dati problema to di ba? Lahat ng mga seafarers ay dumadaan sa DMW, but now we are faced with a situation where even seafarers themselves can be processed or deployed, even in a worst case scenario, trafficked to the detriment of their safety and well-being, working and living conditions nila on board. So, ganun muna ang katayuan natin ngayon. Rest assured, we will provide further info on this matter.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll
Sige
now
naman.
open the floor for the media questions. First, we have TV5, Rainiel Pawid.
Good morning po. Sec, I have two questions in relation with illegal trafficking. First po yung kay Raymond Gumangan from Alcala, Pangasinan na na-recruit dahil sa military from Russia. Then second question, may team na po ba yung DMW para i-track down itong mga lumilipad? Kasi parang trans-country yung ginagawa. They're flying first sa Hong Kong muna, then diretso sa Russia. Paano po yun?
Matter ng kay Mr. Gumangan is a political matter, so we leave this to our colleagues at the DFA. Hindi siya treated as an OFW at this stage, so we will leave this matter to the DFA. But rest assured, sa pakikipag-usap namin kay Ambassador Yulia Fedif ng Ukraine ay nilinaw namin na yung ating safe, ethical, and recruitment migration governance system ang mananaig dito at sisiguraduhin natin na ang mga OFWs will have the proper information, the adequate information, and education para gampanan ang kanilang responsibilidad at pangako na maging OFW, meaning trabahador at worker, at hindi gumawa ng ano pa mga activity o bagay kapag sila'y nasa abroad. But the matter on Mr. Gumangan specifically is with the DFA. We rely on the DFA.
One last sec, human trafficking pa rin. Meron pong source na nagsabi na may 80 na Filipino naman sa Myanmar yung nagpapasagip sa scam hub ulit. So technically, nasa ilang Pilipino pa po yung nag-request ng repatriation?
Yeah. Sec Feli to provide that info.
Currently, according to the report of our labor attaché who is based in Bangkok, there are about 78 who are still in Myanmar, and coordination is being made with the Philippine Embassy in Myanmar. Because we don't have presence in Myanmar, but we are coordinating with the Philippine Embassy in Myanmar. Should there be any repatriation, and what would be the protocol?
Pero any updates po sa kalagayan nila? Are they in a detention center sa Maywadi or nasa Bangkok na?
They are not yet in Bangkok. They are still in Myanmar.
Inside the scam hub?
Yes, still in Myanmar. And as I mentioned earlier, may protocols tayong ino-observe dyan in coordination also with the authorities. So whatever will be the signal or whatever will be the instruction of the Philippine Embassy in Myanmar and the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, then we will take the lead from them.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Nico Bagsik, DZMM.
Add something. Mataas ngayon ang antas ng Thailand-Myanmar cooperation, di ba? Tungo sa pagtawid ng mga galing Western Myanmar into Eastern Thailand. I'm sorry, Eastern Myanmar, Western Thailand. Kasama na doon ng Pilipinas na nakikipag-usap bilang kasama natin sa ASEAN ang Thailand at Myanmar. So, kumbaga, kung mga noong araw ay kailangan pa talagang maigting na koordinasyon, ngayon mas meron ng pagkilala o understanding din ang Thailand, Myanmar at ang Pilipinas na rin tungo sa pagtulong ng Filipino nationals sa tumatawid mula Myanmar to Thailand.
All right. Thank you, Secretary. Next question is from Nico Bagsik, DZMM.
Magandang tanghali po, gentlemen and ma'am. Yung first question ko po is regarding dun sa update lang doon sa mga Pilipinos po na nasa death row at kung ilan pa po, kung nadagdagan po ba or nabawasan pati yung mga may mga kaso po.
The necessary data. Hindi lang namin dala ngayon. Hindi siya kasama sa agenda natin ngayon. I want to give a number pero mas maganda siguro kung accurate. But rest assured, bumaba na yan in light of una, yung legal assistance efforts ng ating mga lawyers. And then, pangalawa nga yung, I think nabahagi ko na sa inyo to, yung batas sa Malaysia kung saan naging posible na i-commute yung sentence ng mga nasa death row sa Malaysia. Yung iba sa kanila nakakulong pa rin for life but at least commuted out of death row na sila. Nagkaroon ng batas doon na nagkaroon ng window o opportunity na mag-apply for commutation of sentences. But we will give you the data. Bumaba na yan around, dati 70 to 80 yan no? Pero bumaba na yan ng mga 30 to 40 but I don't want to give an exact number. Having said that, we continue to monitor the situation of the OFWs in death row. Yung legal lawyers natin still filing the necessary appeals and pleas and petitions para matanggal sila sa death row. And number two, yung mga families nila na tututukan naman natin. Sa OWA, may benefit for the families, livelihood and scholarship. Sa DMW, meron ding financial assistance na binigay sa mga families nila. Kay Jane's case, we take care of the families, sina Nanay Celia, Tatay Cesar, and the family. But otherwise, the case itself will be DOJ and DFA. One more. Diba? Andito na si Mary Jane. I think ang kahilingan nila is mapalaya. That's beyond us. Yes.
Final question na lang po. Yung preparations po are underway for the ASEAN Summit this year kung saan po tayo yung mag-host. Will the DMW participate and ano po yung agenda natin with our neighboring countries? Thank you po.
Yes. Migrant workers agenda, of course, is very important. Noong 2017, nung last chairship natin na italaga yung ASEAN consensus. Yung ASEAN-wide comprehensive agreement on protection of migrant workers, promotion of rights of migrant workers and their families. So for our chairship this year, migrant workers will also be front and center in terms of discussions on further protection kasi meron namang major document. So enhancement of protections would be the order of the day for the DMW and we are in the thick of discussions. Merong ASEAN Committee on Migrant Workers that is set to meet in June. So meron din tayong mga share of meetings natin and meron ding mga informal discussions and dialogues with my counterpart, our counterparts in the labor ministries across ASEAN. Of course, we're working closely with the DOLE and the DFA along these lines. And hopefully, in the November summit ay magkaroon ng bunga yung ating efforts. Hindi ko muna pangunahan pa kung ano yung pinag-uusapan. But hopefully, there will be an agreement on the matter on migrant workers protection.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Glenn Gatus, DZBB.
Alan po.
Sorry. Ibang network yun.
Okay. Secretary, interesting ho yung shadow plate. May bilang ho ba tayo, although hindi tumaan to sa DMW, may initial bilang ho ba tayo kung ilang mga Pilipino na yung na-recruit dito para sa shadow fleet? Pagkatapos, paano ho ba yung modus? Kaano kalaki yung inaalok sa mga kababayan natin para mahikayat dito? At paano ho yung sistema ng pag-alok sa kanila? Online ho ba? Sa social media? Paano po?
Yeah, siguro sa ngayon, hindi muna natin tutugunan yan until kompleto yung information natin. Kasi nag-iingat din tayo syempre na siguraduhin natin kumpleto ang impormasyon. So right now, as I said, what we're doing is looking at the names that we have. 24 ang bilang ng alleged seafarers on board the so-called Shadow Fleet. But we're still confirming this, number one. And number two, we're still looking at the list whether or not they were deployed through the DMW. Kasi it's possible na sa record namin, di-deploy sila sa, let's say, Greece o saan pa man. Pero they ended up in the Shadow Fleet with the Greek, on board a Greek ship, pero they ended up in the Shadow Fleet. So that would be a serious offense, of course. But wala pa muna tayong findings na gano'n. Ito ay speculation lamang on our part. So we are looking into the list and cross-checking it with our database kung meron silang record sa amin. Ganun na lang muna siguro, and rest assured in due time we will come out with the necessary information or findings natin. Pero ang isang mahalaga rin dito is tulungan nyo kami to put the word out sa mga seafarers natin. Make sure na dumaan po kayo sa DMW kasi may hinala din kami na hindi dumaan sa DMW at all ito. Well, actually, kung sila ay nag-end up sa Shadow Fleet, talagang hindi yan dadaan sa DMW kasi ang nature talaga ng Shadow Fleet ay hindi yan nakarehistro sa atin. So, please, siguraduhin dumaan po kayo sa DMW, mga seafarers at yung kanilang mga pamilya. So pati sa pamilya, let's make that plea kasi alam natin na we've known the seafarers families for quite a while and we know that they also know about, they know the processes na pinagdadaanan ng mahal nila sa buhay. So the families, the spouses can be the first to warn their loved ones na seafarers na, hoy, siguraduhin yung dumaan kayo sa DMW.
Follow-up lang, Sec. Dun sa 24 seafarers, identify na natin itong more or less 24 na to, pati yung mga family nila, kung ano ba, kung talagang
Yeah,
ganito ba yung trabaho nila ngayon?
we have their names, yes. And so we are still looking on the matter. So, tama ka, among others, titignan natin yung database natin. Tatawagan natin ng isa-isa yung mga pamilya nila. At ganun na lang muna. Ganun muna. Until we come out with a complete set of findings.
Last na lang dito sa issue na to, Sec. Yung may issue raw ng abandonment and safety dahil nag-ooperate yung mga shadow fleet na to ng walang proper insurance or safety certification. Kaya naabandon na yung mga Pilipino.
Yung by its very nature, yung shadow fleet, walang sapat na rehistro yan, hindi insured, whether it is the regular ship insurance or war risk insurance. Kasi nga, hindi yan kikilalanin ng international insurance. Ang international shipping insurance community is a very small community. So magkakilala sila lahat at kilala nila kung sino yung mga rehistradong barko under the International Maritime Organization. So, hindi yan nakarehistro. In all likelihood, kaya tama ka, walang insurance. And then conditions on board, hindi natin alam kasi the ship itself could be put into question. Kasi nga walang sapat na rehistro, so hindi natin alam kung anong seaworthiness o sitwasyon ng barko. And then of course, the terms and conditions of employment, di ba? Hindi dumaan sa DMW, so hindi natin alam. Kasi yung kontrata natin dito sa DMW, angat yan sa international standard. International standard kasi, di ba, may mga conventions, STCW, ILO Maritime Convention, on seafaring. So, yung PA contract, DMW contract, nakaangat pa yan sa international standard. So, pag hindi dumaan sa DMW, ay wala yan, labas yan, o below the international standard, and worse, could even be below the global standard. So, yan ang kaya inaalam natin yung mga pangalan, and we will take the necessary steps pagka nakumpirma natin ito at nalaman natin kung paano sila nakarating doon. Yung sa modus, bagamat meron na tayong konting impormasyon, kukumpletuhin muna natin siguro at saka kami mag-uulat sa inyo.
Yung sa
At
sweldo, sir.
mag-uulat din kami, of course, kay Senator Erwin Tulfo and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and the House version, the House counterpart. Senator Rafi also, who is the chair of the Committee on Migrant Workers in the Senate.
Yung sweldo, sir, malaki ba? Kaya ganun yung
Hindi pa natin alam yun. Pero kasi, yung sweldo can be deceiving. Maaring sa money value, may sapat na sweldo o kaya matingkad yung sweldo, pero yan, walang insurance, walang SSS, walang medical and all these other assurances or benefits or protections, di ba? So hindi alam kung nasaan sila. Kasi nga, by its very nature, shadow fleet, yung safety nila, hindi tayo sigurado. So, yan ang mga perils ng pagiging kabilang ng shadow fleet. Kaya tayo ay seryosong matter ito at we will get to the bottom of this within the next 24-48 hours para malaman kagad natin, malocate natin kung saan yung mga kababayan natin on board this so-called shadow fleet.
All right. Thank you, Secretary.
Andiyan na pala si Yusek
Yes.
PY, so can we proceed with the good administrator of the OWA for the report from the OWA side?
Sec, magandang tanghali po, Sec Hans, Yusek Pelly, Yusek Partner Bernard. Magandang umaga po. Magandang tanghali po sa mga kaibigan po natin sa media at sa lahat po na nakikinig ngayon. Good news po, nung pong bago po mag-Valentine's Day, of course led by no less than our Secretary Hans Leo J. Cacdac, binuksan po natin ang kauna-unahang Seafarers Welfare Center po. At yan po ay sa Metro Manila. Dito po yan sa may MOA Arena area. Kung maaalala niyo po, ito po ay sang-ayon sa Magna Carta for Seafarers na naging batas noong September 2024. Ito po ang una sa siyam na nakalagay po sa batas na kung saan ay inaatasan po ang OWA na magtayo nitong Seafarer Welfare Center. Bago ko po sabihin yung main purpose at kalayunin nitong Seafarer Welfare Center, isabihin ko lang po yung mga lugar kung saan ayon sa Magna Carta ay dapat itong magtayo ng Seafarer Welfare Center. Ito po ay sa Metro Manila, Pangasinan, Bulacan, Cavite, Batangas, Iloilo, Cebu, Cagayan de Oro City, and Davao City. Ito po ay mga major crew change ports, no? Ang nandito po sa mga syudad na ito, sa mga probinsyang ito. At unang-una po ay ito nga pong nasa Metro Manila, ito pong Seafarer Welfare Center. Ang layunin po nito ay, in other words, gawin po sa isang lugar, sa isang pasilidad, ang iba't iba pong serbisyo at programa ng ating pong pamahalaan para po sa ating pong mga marino. Ito po ay in line with the directive of the President to make the services of the government readily accessible to our workers. Sabi nga po ng ating mahal na kalihim, mahal na Secretary, dapat red carpet. Kaya ito pong Seafarer Welfare Center, very welcoming, very inclusive. Ang features po nito, meron po itong one-stop shop. Nandito po ang DMW, ang OWA, at iba't iba po pong mga partner na national government agencies. Katulad po ng SSS, Pag-ibig, PhilHealth. Inaatasan din po ang TESDA at ang National Maritime Polytechnic, ang NMP, under the Department of Migrant Workers, na mag-provide po ng mga non-degree courses at trainings para po sa capacity building ng ating po mga seafarers. Inaatasan din po ang PAO, ang Public Attorney's Office, na magtalaga ng isang public attorney dito po sa ating center upang magbigay ng libreng legal assistance. Meron na rin ho sila dyaang opisina at pasilidad sa loob ng ating center para magbigay po ng ganitong libreng legal assistance. Masaya rin po tayong iulat na sa loob po ng center natin ay may sarili po itong Yakap Clinic at Botika under Alagang OWA, PhilHealth, Yakap, Clinic at Botika. Libreng check-up po ito dahil po talaga ditong full-time na naka-assign na doktor at po full-blown na botika, libreng gamot under the Yakap and Gamot program of PhilHealth. No, at ito po ay open sa lahat po ng mga seafarers at kanila pong pamilya, pati ang kanilang mga anak. Kasama po dito sa programang ito ang libreng cancer screening at libreng laboratory exam po, no? Pag yung pong ating doktor on site ay nirekomenda na magkaroon po kayo ng laboratory exam na kailangan, ay libre po ito at ihahatid po kayo ng OWA. May shuttle po tayo para mas madali po sa inyo ito. On top of that po, of course, no, tatak na alagang OWA, may migrants brew po dyan, libreng kape, meron nga po rin tayong pink cafe kasi po napansin natin, doon sa dating puro kalalakihan po na seafarers sa pupunta, ay ito naman po ay open sa lahat, including our female seafarers, mga members ng LGBTQIA+ community. Very inclusive po itong tahanan ng ating mga seafarers at handog po ito ng ating mahal na Pangulo, ng Department of Migrant Workers at ng OWA. So, magkakaroon po dito like our Seafair Sub ng daily sessions, capacity building, financial literacy, health, and wellness sessions. Araw-araw po yan. Masaya rin po kami ibalita na because of our partnerships with different NGOs, nandito rin po ang Love Yourself, no, our partner patungkol sa mental health and HIV awareness. So meron din po silang pasilidad dito upang mas maging madali yung access sa gamot at sa treatment at sa consultation mula sa mga eksperto sa HIV at sa sexual health. So isa po yan sa magandang balita. And then pangalawa po, tuloy-tuloy lang po tayo sa ating pag-ikot sa ating mga kababayan. Nagsimula na po ang OWA Cup sa Qatar at masaya po tayo na marami po tayong mga kababayan na nag-participate at tuloy-tuloy lang po itong OWA Cup, ang liga ng OFWs na nagpo-promote po, of course, hindi lamang po ng community building, kung hindi health and wellness among our dear OFWs. At sabi nga po ni Sec Hans ay gawin din namin ito dito sa mga regions sa OWA Cup Junior para naman po sa mga anak ng OFWs dahil sila po ay equally important at kasama sa mandato po ng DMW at OWA na bigyan ng mga programa at serbisyo. Currently, under the Children's Circle po, may mga iba't iba na po tayong mga programa katulad po sa arts and other creatives at syempre yung pong kanilang meron din po tayong financial literacy program para sa pamilya at anak ng mga OFWs. So Sec, yun lang po mula sa OWA sa ngayon. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Admin. Once again, just to reiterate na yung linaunch na ni na Admin PY, nandun nga tayo last Friday? Friday siya.
Bago po mag-Valentine's Day.
Bago mag-Valentine's Day. Bisperas ng Valentine's Day ay of course tagubili ng ating Pangulo na magsagawa ng proyekto na mapalapit pa tayo lalo sa mga OFWs, and in this case ating mga mahal na mga marino, tripulante, and in compliance with the OWA mandate upon the OWA to set up this welfare center. So warmest congratulations kay Admin PY and the hardworking team at the OWA. Sige.
Okay, may online question tayo, Sec, from Miss Marita Muwahe. Filipino seafarers are said to be the second worst affected sa abandoned seafarers next to Indians. Ano ang ginagawa ng DMW on this? Any actions to prevent this in action versus ship owners?
We are mindful of the responsibility of ship owners to take care of their seafarers. And as I said, may processing yan ng contracts, may responsibility to fulfill the contracts, the work contracts with the seafarers. Absent any compliance or violation of these contracts will merit recruitment violations on the part of manning agencies and ship owners. So We have had some cases already where we had meted the due penalties, suspension, in some cases cancellation ng licenses ng manning agencies, suspension of ship owners na have failed to fulfill their part of the contract, their responsibility under the contract to provide employment and safely take care and safely repatriate their seafarers in times of emergency or urgency. Second, in terms of policy, hindi rin tayo nagkulang dyan dahil ang Pilipinas nung naging vice chair ng Special Tripartite Committee sa ILO, Maritime Labor Convention sa ILO Geneva, ay nagsulong nung pagsusog o pag-amend ng Maritime Labor Convention on measures to protect seafarers from abandonment. More particularly, nandyan yung requirement na kapag 3 months lang na hindi nakapagbayad ng sweldo, deemed abandonment na yun. Tapos dapat properly insured ang mga seafarers, ang ship owner, in the event of abandonment sa pagbayad ng mga sweldo. So, yan ang mga binabantayan natin dito sa DMW. Hahabulin natin tutulungan natin yung seafarers sa paghabol dun sa financial security or insurance in case meron silang habulin mga sweldo na kailangan bayaran sa kanila. Ngayon, yung repatriation o yung assistance sa mga ports kung saan sila inabandon, we are in strong partnership with the DFA, DMW, and the OWA. Ang OWA, merong repatriation fund. Kaya't si Admin PY shoulder the repatriation of seafarers who need to be so repatriated kapag sila inabandon na in a certain port. Of course, in partnership with the DFA. Kasi it's possible na ang isang seafarer halimbawa na repatriate na abandon sa isang puerto, let's say in South America na walang DMW presence, pero may DFA presence to our embassies in South America. Nandun ang DFA for the assistance on the ground, and then we assist, augment if necessary the DFA teams para makauwi yung mga seafarers. And of course, sa DMW side, nandyan ang Action Fund, where we provide the necessary financial assistance to the seafarers victimized by abandonment. And sa pag-atas din ng ating Pangulo, pag uwi nila, nandiyan dyan yung whole of government approach. Kaninang umaga, guest namin si Sec. Ted Herbosa sa flag ceremony at naipahiwatig na naman muli ni Sec. Ted yung kabilang ng DOH dyan sa whole of government approach. Yung mga umuuwing na abandon ng seafarers, nandyan ang team ni Sec. Ted para magbigay ng medical check-up, psychosocial counseling. Nandyan yung team ni Sec. Rex Gatchalian ng DSWD to give psychosocial counseling also and financial assistance. Nandyan yung team ni TESDA, DG Kiko Benitez at ng TESDA para magbigay ng skills upgrading or skills enhancement or yung mga skills vouchers in case ang tripulante o yung pamilya niya ay pwedeng mabigyan ng skills enhancement. Nandyan din of course ang DFA, nandyan ang yung Department of Transport kasi nga yung pag-operate ng airport, magkasalubong sa airport. Of course, Admin PY and the team at OWA provides the necessary hotel accommodation and the transport din ng ating seafarers sa kanilang home province. Remember na ang context lang to ay inabandona na sila. So it's possible na walang license manning agency na rin na tumutulong dito. But there are cases din na ang nag-abandona yung ship owner, pero yung license manning agency posibleng tumutulong pa rin. So in that situation, katuwang pa rin natin yung license ship owner. Ngayon, it can happen pa rin, ano? So patuloy ang ating continuous screening at discussion sa mga social dialogue fora, sa Maritime Industry Tripartite Council, yung advisory council na inatasan ni Pangulong italaga. Pinatasan kami na italaga yung advisory council with the global ship owners, yung IAC GMA. So patuloy lang ang effort natin na pagbabantay dito against abandonment. Kung papansinin nyo naman ang figures, ang malaking volume talaga yung ibang nationalities. Pero tayo, given the big size, tayo kasi ang pinakamalaking share, 30% ng global seafaring force ay sa atin. As compared to the big percentage ng Pilipino na nando doon and to the numbers of victimized by abandonment, maliit ang porsyento. So maaaring nababanggit tayo sa mga abandonment reports year in and year out, but that's not to say na very prevalent ang abandonment for Filipino seafarers. Isa pa rin tayo sa pinakamaliit na nationalities in terms of bilang ng mga nabiktima ng abandonment. And I would attribute that, of course, to our measures of protection that have been always been emphasized and upheld and directed to us by no less than the President.
Thank you, Sec. Next question is from Sam Medinilla, Business Mirror.
Good afternoon po. Balik lang po ako dun sa Abu Dhabi Dialogue. During po ba sa chairmanship ng Pilipinas sa nasabing dialogue, i-raise rin po ba ng DMW yung proposal nila na i-promote yung $500 na minimum wage for kasambahay? Tapos yung parang abolition ng kafala system at saka how to address yung third country deployment?
Yung welfare and protection will be part of the discussions. Yung paglilinang ng mga specific topics of discussion will also be taken up with the member states, including the secretariat in Dubai, the UAE secretariat in Dubai. But rest assured, welfare and protection will be on the agenda as long as the Philippines is the chair of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue. That will include discussions on contracts of domestic workers, including the matter on wages and other terms of conditions of employment. So, hindi ko sasabihin na specific dun sa $500 kasi yun naman ay bahagi rin ng bilateral na usapin natin with the member states. But sa pakalahatan, rest assured, welfare and protection of OFWs, of migrant workers, including domestic workers, will be at the forefront of our agenda as the chair of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue.
Follow-up lang ako, sir. Yung sa $500, yung last time po nabanggit nila, mga may 3,000 employers na yung voluntary na nag-comply. Nadagdagan po ba yun? At saka may countries po ba na nag-comply?
Have the figures with me right now. Andyan si Jules kanina, umalis, ASEC Jules Ambito. But what I can say is when we were in Bahrain 2 weeks ago, we went to Riyadh, we went to Bahrain, we went to UAE. Doon sa Bahrain, nagbigay tayo ng recognition sa 14 recruitment agencies there for honoring the increase. So that's 14. Siguro kukunin na lang namin yung data Sam kung ilan JOs, job orders ang dala ng 14 na yun. Binigyan nating recognition sa Bahrain. So patuloy lang yung effort na ito kasi kung ang usapin ay pagtanggap sa $500 ng labor market, we will continue to recognize the stakeholders who have so already indicated in their respective job orders and contracts the $500.
So far, sir, wala pang country yun na nag-voluntary comply dun. Bale, mga employers pa lang.
Yeah, it's on a voluntary basis, so ganyan muna ang engagement natin. We are encouraging countries and we're incentivizing encouraging employers and recruitment agencies. So we're incentivizing employers and recruitment agencies who abide by or who decide to pay their domestic workers $500 monthly salary per month.
Na-mention rin po nila kanina na isa sa topic po na i-raise nila during po doon sa dialogue, yung skills, ano po.
Yeah.
Meron recently may mga GCC countries po na nag-start requiring na po yung parang certification for OFWs. Ang issue raw po, may mga OFWs na malaki na yung experience dati, kaso wala pa ring certification na necessary for that requirement. May data po kaya yung DMW kung ilan mga OFWs yung ganun? At saka kung paano po ina-address yun?
Kala pa namin yung data information dito. But rest assured, we are engaging the foreign governments, the host countries. Some of them are members of the Abu Dhabi Dialogue, member states. So we're engaging them on a discussion on this matter. Tingin ko kailangan lang talaga iklaro. The intention might be good, na lahat ay certificated, lahat ay skills. Skills are the highest form of protection after all. But there are some gray areas nga in this matter, on this matter. So again, we will raise this point with DG Kiko, Benitez, and we are also engaging the host countries on this matter.
Kino-consider po ba ng DMW mag-request ng parang some sort of grace period for the transition for the
Yes,
implementation?
that could be one of the options.
Ah.
That could be one of the options. A grace period or some measure of flexibility. Sama. Hindi naman din kailangan ng grace period if there are measures of flexibility such as recognition of other modes of skills acquisition that could be recognized.
Last na lang for my part, sir. Na-mention rin po kanina nila yung mga topics na balak po nilang i-discuss during dun sa hosting ng ASEAN Summit ng Pilipinas. I-raise rin po ba nila yung issue nung sa Golden Triangle? Yung medyo, yung mga
Yeah,
incidents and scam?
Ang gusto natin sana ay magkaroon ng discussion on safe ethical recruitment. And definitely that matter will also touch upon ensuring that our workers who go to one of the ASEAN member states to work shall have been processed by or shall have been recruited and deployed in accordance with laws on both sides, the sending and the receiving state. Not necessarily some to focus or to center on the scam hubs, but of course, this could very well be discussed. And by the way, this is not just a matter for our sector, kasi kami labor migration sector. As you know, there is a standing ASEAN Convention on Trafficking in Persons, the ACTIP. It's a legally binding existing document, no? And the Philippines, once again, spearheaded the formulation as well as the adoption of that convention. So, nandun yun sa proper area with DFA, law enforcement, DOJ, nandun yun sa cluster nila, sa political side. So, that's something that they could very well take up in that cluster, in that tawag dun sa area nila. I think it's called a cluster.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Sam. And with that, Secretary, baka may last message ka po.
Sa inyong lahat, as you can see, a lot of matters are work in progress. Yusek Feli pala has some update on the Myanmar matter.
Let me also address the questions. Assume that what forms of assistance have we provided to the Myanmar victims or Myanmar human trafficking victims. For the year 2025, we have repatriated through our action fund 839 Filipinos. When I say through our action fund po, tayo po yung sumagot ng kanilang repatriation ticket. In the same way that we have provided welfare assistance to 690 of them, in the form of food assistance, medical care, may mga dinala sa ospital, then provision of hygiene kits and basic necessities like their clothes and medicines, and also we paid for their immigration penalty fees. We are arranging our migrant workers office in Bangkok has requested, of course, through the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, has requested the Philippine Embassy in Yangon to work out on a possible visit of our team in Bangkok to visit the 78 human trafficking victims who are still in Myanmar, who are currently in detention. So we are still awaiting clearance from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Myanmar. So as soon as we have secured the clearance and we are allowed, of course, the proper protocol and the proper documentation, then our team in Bangkok will visit our kababayans who are held in detention in Myanmar. Salamat po. the year 2025, 839 were repatriated. And we have also provided to 690 Filipinos welfare assistance.
All right. Secretary.
Status po nila, nasa detention, tama.
Yun pong 839, nakauwi na po.
Sorry po, yung 78
Yes,
na nakadetain sila.
yes.
So wala po sila sa parang center,
Wala po. Mhm.
You will seek your transfer.
Yes po.
Transfer kasi
So they are currently,
Detention facility ng Myanmar. Tama po.
mhm,
yes.
yeah,
Tama.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, and so do we. They are properly monitored by the Philippine side. And as I said, may cooperative measures na through our embassy in Yangon. May cooperative measures na between the Philippine and Myanmarese governments in terms of their protection and then eventual repatriation. Okay? So maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, and to Admin PY Zoom, maraming salamat din. And of course, we'll see you in the next briefing. Thank you. Partake of the lunch? May lunch? Okay. Okay, lunch.
Thank you so much, Secretary, and to all our DMW senior officials. And of course, on behalf of DMW, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga kaibigan sa media. Please continue to support and spread the news about... Okay, maraming salamat po, of course, para sa ating mga kababayang OFW. Thank you, everyone.